November 5th. There's panic in Moscow. It's engulfed in flames. Russia is burning.
Good morning, everyone. We are currently experiencing a fire emergency here, to put it mildly.
Oh, how scary, really. Just look at how frightening it is. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's what the visibility is like. You can't even see the cars. We're driving with our hazard lights and headlights on. There's nothing to breathe. We're literally suffocating now. Homes have been destroyed, people evacuated, and a state of emergency has been declared.
It's burning up above, the car is parked lower in Malinovka, and we're burning on the hill alongside the fire trucks.
We've already successfully completed our first flight, and now there's a serious fire at the airfield as well. Our firefighters are working right at the airfield. They're saving the equipment there. Since it's very close to the helicopters and hangars, the situation here is also difficult.
380,000 hectares are on fire. People have been evacuated from areas where the fire came right up to residential buildings and skyscrapers.
Look at what's happening. Where is the airport?
Russians are trapped in a fiery cage. Even the cosmodrome in Russia could burn to the ground. Hellish landscapes. Several thousand people have been mobilized to fight the fires, including rescuers, about 800 smoke jumpers from other regions, 250 pieces of equipment, and aircraft. None of them can put out the fire.
The second aircraft is also preparing to take off to fight the fire in the Smolenka area. So we keep working. Take care of yourselves.
Tens of thousands of Russians have been left without homes, without heat, without electricity.
Where are you supposed to go? Just out into the fields?
How are you supposed to fly or even survive? Do you understand?
Passengers on the Aeroflot Bangkok-Moscow flight nearly died, survived an emergency landing, and came under fire.
There's a war going on. War! All the airports in Russia are shut down. All the planes in Russia are being turned back. All flights have been cancelled. Who's going to bring you back?
Breaking news, friends. Russia is on fire. The whole of Russia is engulfed in flames. A state of emergency has been declared. It's total collapse and mass evacuation. This is what visibility looks like. You can't even see the cars. We're driving with our hazard lights on. With the headlights on, there's nothing to breathe. We're literally suffocating.
It's already right next to us.
First of all, the airport in Chita is on fire. The Chita airfield is trying to save the equipment. The situation is difficult. It's a fire emergency.
Good morning, everyone. We're having a fire emergency here, so to speak. We've already made our first flight. Now we've taxied onto the airfield. There's a fire here, too. Our firefighters are working right on the airfield. They're saving the equipment there because it's very close to the helicopters and the hangars. The situation here is also difficult. So we're working. The second aircraft is also getting ready to take off. There's a fire being extinguished in the Smolenka area. That's how things are. So we keep working. Take care of yourselves.
A wall of fire near the highway in the Amur region. There's a massive forest fire raging there. Oh, it's so scary, really. Look how frightening it is. Unbelievable. Hellish landscapes greet drivers on the road from Blagoveshchensk, especially near the village of Moskovitnoye. In Moskovitnoye, hundreds of trees are burning and people are filming what's happening. They are terrified. Russia is terrified. The footage is no less nightmarish than a nightmare itself. Friends, please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and let's start this blog.
We're waiting for you. We're taking you to the Kerchini region, out here in the field. Come visit.
The Zabaikalsky Krai is engulfed by powerful fires, homes have been destroyed, people have been evacuated, and a state of emergency has been declared. The fight against large-scale forest fires continues in Zabaikalsky Krai. A state of emergency has been declared there. According to the Ministry of Emergency Situations, there are currently more than 50 fire outbreaks in the region, covering an area of 380,000 hectares.
The wind is blowing towards the Bakelets. This is where the springs are, where people collect water. On the opposite side, there is a truly massive fire burning.
People were evacuated from areas where the fire came dangerously close to residential buildings. Several thousand people are currently involved in firefighting efforts, including rescuers and about 800 smoke jumpers from other regions. There are 250 units of equipment and aircraft involved. The work is complicated by weather conditions and the proximity of the fire to populated areas. Dhaka buildings have been damaged. Dozens of destroyed homes. It is known that dozens of homes have burned down, 30 buildings, and another 50 plots have been affected. In Chita, the administrative center of the Zabaikalsky Krai, the Kadala airport had previously suspended operations temporarily. It was simply surrounded by a forest fire which disrupted air traffic for dozens of hours. The main cause is cited as careless handling of fire during strong winds. This was reported by the region's Minister of Natural Resources, Pavel Volgin. Local pro-Russian Telegram channels report that the fires may be set intentionally. Pro-Russian forces found neatly stacked dry branches and empty oil canisters in the forests. Today, 3 men were detained in one of Chita's districts. Volunteers noticed that they were driving into the forest toward the fire. The circumstances are currently being investigated. Russians, look at this footage. See how people are trapped in a fiery cage. In Russia, the cosmodrome and nearby houses could burn to the ground. Wow, that's really scary, isn't it? Look how frightening it is. Unbelievable. Right now, massive forest fires are raging in the Amur region. A fire also broke out near a gas boiler house. It's almost impossible to get out of the city because the trees along the roads are on fire. This natural disaster is simply taking revenge on Russia for all the atrocities it has committed against Ukraine and other countries. The total area of the fires has exceeded 3,000 hectares. It is noted that the city, with a population of just over 7,000 people, is home to employees of the Vostochny cosmodrome. The cosmodrome itself is located 25 kilometers from the city. A state of emergency has been declared in Buryatia due to forest fires. Currently, according to the regional government, there are 30 active fires in the republic, covering an area of more than 53,000 hectares. If there aren't large-scale fires in Russia, then it's not really Russia. This time, Baikal was affected. According to the Russian Ministry of Emergency Situations, the fires there have covered an area of more than 576,000 hectares. Spring fires in the Amur region have reached the town of Chilkovsky, and right now they are threatening 15 new apartment buildings. At least 2,000 residents live there, who are leaving their homes on their own. There is no mass evacuation. Once again, friends, an evacuation still hasn't been announced in the city. Solokovsky is located 15 kilometers from the Vostochny cosmodrome. About 6,000 people live there, many of whom are employees of the station. Smoke is enveloping the city. People have nothing to breathe, and strong winds continue to fan the flames and hinder firefighting efforts. The fire has reached right up to residential buildings. Outbuildings and garages across the road from the new developments are already burning. The total area of the fire in the district is over 3,000 hectares.
It's really close by. It's just past the mill. Where the animal enclosure is, the forester, that whole area. 4 fire trucks went in there, and now 2 more just flew by.
Even if you drop me off in a field, at least I'll be alive rather than flying and burning alive. Passengers from the Aeroflot Bangkok-Moscow flight first went through an emergency landing in New Delhi due to problems with the fuel tank, and then found out that just a few minutes after landing, the Indian airport came under fire. Please show your passports. Don't panic. Everyone will be let off soon. Where are you going? Out into the field or what? Yes.
Even if it's into a field, at least I'll be alive rather than flying and burning alive. Are you with me, you know? Find me the source. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats and let the technical staff. I need the source. There's no source. Where's that calcium? Girls, just raise your hands and let the technical staff through. Come on, I'll take you there. To the kitchen, it's less crowded there. Come on, I'll check your blood pressure. You check mine. Come on, I'll take you there. To the kitchen, it's less crowded there. It stinks. Don't smell. It stinks. It smells. Food doesn't smell. They used to stink in Volono. Is that normal? That's awful. First she connected them with bags, and then with a sword. She herself even.
There's a war going on. War. War. Is everyone crazy or what?
Which one are you referring to? Which ones do you mean? All of the airports in Russia are currently shut down. All the planes in Russia are being turned back. All flights have been canceled. Who will bring you back?
The plane entered Russian airspace, but the 9-hour flight had to be interrupted. 4 hours after takeoff, a strong smell of burning plastic appeared in the cabin. The crew was unable to quickly identify the source of the smell. One of the flight attendants came into the cabin with a fire extinguisher. Panic broke out in the cabin. One of the passengers, overwhelmed by emotion, asked for the plane to be landed as soon as possible, even if it was just in a field, anywhere at all. Other passengers tried to remain calm, but it was clear they were struggling to do so. The pilots decided to land the plane at the nearest airport. The aircraft was accepted in New Delhi. Before landing, the captain dumped fuel. After the plane landed safely, staff at the Indian airport inspected it and discovered that there had been a short circuit in the multimedia system in row 27. But even after this incident, the passengers' troubles were not over. Immediately after landing, India closed its airspace due to shelling from Pakistan. During the notable Fajr period, we gave particularly strong and impactful punk Alhamdulillah. The plane that was supposed to pick up the passengers was unable to reach Delhi due to closed airspace. The racists were able to return home only 2 days later. Their plane finally landed in Moscow. The joys of life in a superpower. In Surgut, a child almost drowned in mud. The boy was stuck knee-deep in Putin's prosperity and couldn't get out on his own. According to local residents, a swamp forms in this spot and the authorities aren't planning to do anything about it. And Gladkov accused the residents of profiting from the shelling. The governor of the Belgorod region stated that some residents of border areas deliberately exposed their property to shelling in order to receive compensation. There she is, the racist motherland.
The tried to toss the car into a shell crater, which they had discovered somewhere hidden in the thick bushes, in an attempt to pass it off as a vehicle that had been hit by shelling, so that they could claim and receive compensation for the supposed damage.
Let's roll the car out of the garage. Maybe it'll get shelled. At least we'll get some money, Gladkov recounted, supposedly quoting a conversation he overheard.
Unfortunately, I've personally heard relatives have these conversations. Let's take it out. Our settlement is being shelled. Roll the car out of the garage. Maybe it'll get shelled. At least we'll get... The car is old, can't get rid of it, can't sell it. So I have just one request. Yes, through back channels. Yes, to absolutely and firmly insist on making sure to remove them, without exception. I want to be clear that this is very personal vehicles into garage. Understand that sometimes there are direct hits, and in those cases, there's not. You also see on social media people saying, let's demand to be relocated, otherwise the war will end and we'll still be living in these old houses. So it's not just 1, 2, or 3 settlements where we see a separate group starting to form, gradually trying to take the lead. Certain residents are actively trying to get government, though in reality there's no big.
Gladkov ordered the local authorities to check whether people actually keep their cars in their garages. Obviously, the police and the military in the border areas simply have nothing better to do, friends. What annoys the governor even more are the people who, under the pretext of shelling, want to move into new housing at the government's expense. It doesn't even occur to officials that people simply wouldn't need any government assistance if it weren't for Putin's madness bringing war to the Belgorod region. And in the collection of the underage Kadyrov Jr., there's a new medal, but there's a catch. The possible heir to the Chechen throne now has more awards than years he's been alive. It is dedicated to the 25th anniversary of the Akhmat Grozny Oman. Since everyone is already used to Adam Kadyrov being awarded something every week, who among us friends would have noticed if, in the award ceremony video, the crosses on the Russian coat of arms were deliberately erased? Actually, in Russia, there is an article in the law about desecration of state symbols. Moreover, law enforcement officers are happy to use this article only against opposition figures. Friends, please like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and let me know in the comments what you think about this. And now let's take a look at an analysis of Russian propaganda.
And if he really does give out Tamagotchis, to be honest, I can't quite imagine how that's going to look. Yes, that would bring us closer to what is called nuclear.
Right, fine. But we'll go straight to heaven. They'll just die.
Well, we could struggle a little bit more. Do you want...
To suffer?
She can indeed.
Suffer a bit. More ambassadors, why should we care what Putin says? Or what Lavrov? And why should we care what the Americans will sell to whomever we want? Why should we care? The countries will start acting with the attitude of why should we care?
And how many days until humanity disappears? They just need to understand that transferring tomahawks is already beyond the Cuban Missile Crisis. And now, when they try to say in their articles, all right, just stop, what difference does it make? None at all. We'll just strike and that'll be the end of it. By the way, if the UK gets wiped out, I think all of humanity will applaud. They'll say, my God, how wonderful. That's the honest truth. It really is wonderful.
Well, as you say.
But convincing yourself that McGuff doesn't play any role, that there are few of them, that they won't give them anything. There has never been a time when they put something out into the public space and it didn't end up on Ukrainian territory.
We have never waged wars of conquest. We have always defended ourselves from those who tried to take something from us. And that's probably why there's such an attitude, such a very different attitude. For them, it's just business. It's about making money, gaining influence, and strengthening their own system. But for us, it has always been about survival. For us, it has always been about national security in its highest sense. I think it was Trudeau who once said, commenting on the fact that right next to Canada are the giant United States. I don't remember exactly how he put it. But when you have an elephant sleeping next to you, if it so much as turns over, it can crush you. It won't even realize that it's crushed you.
You want these Nazi tendencies. And the Ukrainian armed forces, as they behave in this conflict, act even more brutally than Hitler. Just look at the atrocities they commit in these territories. And you want even the slightest thought of this to be present at negotiations for a second about the idea that we should still give up some territory. How are we supposed to give them up, along with the people, with Russians, or without people, just with the rare earth metals?
We don't care how many missiles they plan to launch. If they completely destroy our critical decision-making centers, the hand of death is automatically triggered.
Yes, the perimeter system. Why am I saying this? Because with Russia, it's clear what we're going to do. How do we resist? It's clear that here we need to create a completely different kind of response, but even the launch of a singular JVK at our territory would allow them to gauge our reaction to
certain
actions such as...
Dmitry Anatolievich made it clear. This is the beginning of a nuclear war, and accordingly, we would have to strike first at the storage sites and deployment locations of the launchers carrying nuclear stockpiles. And at the same time, make a decision at the center so we don't have to get up twice. Stalin straight, and while we're at it, wash away that incomprehensible little British spit to hell.
By the way, returning to Britain and our response, the President rather unambiguously hinted that we are moving on to testing those devices we've talked about. And most likely this refers to the final stage of Poseidon. We'll see. And for the British, it's more complicated. Either the Burevestnik missiles, meaning something strategic.
The main thing is they tested it at the right testing ground. Last time there was a very good testing ground, Yuzhmash, right? They tested Oreshnik at Yuzhmash. That was a very correct decision. Here you could use the British Isles as a target, if you go by the scenario. But with Europe, it's all more complicated. Europe, let's be honest, everything is heading toward war. Let's not kid ourselves with illusions. They'll be given tomahawks. They'll be given everything. They'll be given everything. At the same time, I'm sure that when the need arises, they'll even be given tactical nuclear weapons. Because what's happening now already feels like when you realize you have no strength left and you just throw off your gloves, grab bottles, smash them, and that's it. Forget about fair boxing. It's turning into a dirty fight. At the same time, they're convinced that we'll always be a couple of steps behind. And they're not even embarrassed about it anymore. Just think about it. Now some security and defense expert, Professor Michael Clark, openly says, yes, it's us who are fighting. It's our special forces, our specialists. They've even stopped being embarrassed about it.
As of today, we're at war with the entire so-called West. At war. We're not fighting Ukraine in Ukraine. Even Trump said that if it weren't for us, this war would have ended in 3 days. Isn't that true? He did say that. So we're fighting them, all of them, and we're winning. Can you imagine that? Could you have imagined this before Putin? No, you couldn't have. That's why, for a person of Russian culture, Russian history, living in Russia, supporting Putin is a matter of pride. They think they're insulting me by saying that. No, they're not insulting me at all. The world will no longer be unipolar. That's it. The hegemony is over. And who ended it? It was ended by Putin, Vladimir Vladimirovich. That's exactly why we are proud to be his trusted representatives, or, as you said, Putin'S. To sit down, talk, and come to an agreement. That's it. And to put an end to all of this, no one likes that people are dying. I don't like it. You know, I'm sure that Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin doesn't like it at all either, that people are dying. And if people hadn't been dying, if they hadn't started destroying our people in 2014, this war that's happening now would never have started. Do you understand? It wouldn't have started from the very beginning. We really hope that negotiations will actually take place and that people will stop dying. No one likes it when blood is being shed. We're not sadists, after all.
If you've ever wondered what to give a priest as a gift, there's an answer, of course. A yacht, a Mercedes, or an apartment in the center of Moscow, and, well, just as much as you can afford. A little reminder, there's a grain of truth in every joke. Everything else is true.
What can you give a priest as a gift? The classics. A yacht, a Mercedes, and an apartment on Tverskaya. After that you can...
Then as much as you're able?
Yes. Just scale it down according to your means. I give you a benchmark. Every athlete should know the Olympic standards. Even a school kid. I don't know, like a school kid should run 100 meters in 10 seconds. 10 minutes is perfectly fine.
People are curious, for example. a priest performs a sacrament, a baptism or something else. And the question is, how do you thank the priest? He says it's an awkward situation at that moment. On
the one hand, half the people curse us for being price setters in churches, and the other half curse us because there aren't any, since it's unclear how much you're supposed to give.
And they quote how to thank the priest so as not to offend him.
That always amuses me. I smile inwardly when someone gives an uneven amount. Only then is it clear that, let's say, hypothetically, so 100 rubles is too little, and 200 is too much. So here, take 150, right? You can tell the person was bargaining with themselves inside. It's always obvious when the amount is uneven.
I just want this to get into the head of every foreigner. We will win. And notice during this press conference, statement, Putin said that this is a war.
I noticed that too. He, for the first
time,
said that this is a war.
So that this doesn't spread across Ukraine, so that all sorts of scum don't read it. A video went viral online showing women destroying Russian classics. According to them, they managed to destroy 3 bags of Russian books. 2 more are still in the process. They plan to send everything for recycling. Well,
series number 2, what do we have here? Lermontov, to the trash bin. Dostoevsky, what did this one write here? Crime and punishment, crime and punishment. We're taking the paper for recycling. Here are the bags standing. Chekhov. The one terrorists grew up on, who then gouge out our journalists' eyes and cut their tracheas.
Tatyana.
Pushkin. Alexander Harmatny, as we call him. To the trash bin, you scoundrel. All of this is trash. Pushkin. Chekhov. How could we do without Chekhov? Well, where is it? Let's blow up these books, waste our precious time, so that this scum, these bastards, don't spread them around the world, so they don't spread across our Ukraine, so that all sorts of nests don't read them. There are no Chekhovs here. And what's Chekhov doing here? Okay, 3 things are already here, now 2 more. Never got around to it. Now we finally did. Farewell, Dasha. Farewell, Parasha. No one needs you. This is junk. And even if you burn it, it won't burn, but it's better to turn it in for recycling, let it become paper. Small pile.
Friends, please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And in the comments, write a few kind words in support of Ukraine. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to the heroes. We will definitely win.